I still wet the bed at 17. And my family treats me like a disgrace. A heartbreaking confession before I turn 18. What's one traumatizing thing from your childhood that never let you go? Something that clings to your identity like a shadow, even when you're trying to shine. Mine is bedwetting. Yeah. That thing everyone laughs about when they're talking about little kids. That thing you're supposed to grow out of by age 5. But I didn't. I haven't. Hello, I'm Eva. I'm turning 18 in 10 days. And I still wet the bed. Doctors call it nocturnal enuresis. My family just calls it disgusting. This isn't a joke. This isn't some embarrassing teenage phase. This is my life. And I need help because I'm scared that I'll carry this shame into adulthood. Into marriage. Into the world. And I don't think I'll survive that. I honestly don't remember a time in my life where waking up in soak sheets wasn't a part of my story. It started when I was little, probably around 4 or 5. Back then, my mom thought it was just normal childhood behavior. She'll grow out of it, they said. But I didn't. Instead, I became the bedwetter of the family. At first, it was whispered behind doors. Then, it became the nickname my brothers would throw at me during arguments. Don't get too close to Eva, she'll pee on you, they'd say, laughing. I'd laugh too, pretending it didn't burn. But it did. My parents tried everything. No water after 6 p.m. Waking me up every 2 hours in the night. Herbal remedies. Scolding. Threats. But I don't think anyone truly understands the kind of fear that comes with bedtime unless you've lived it. For most people, night is peace. For me, it's panic. Every night before I sleep, there's a ritual. I use the bathroom twice. I set alarms. I pray. I beg God, literally beg, like a child asking for candy, please don't let me wet the bed tonight. Please. Just tonight. Then I lay on my mattress, stiff and cold, afraid to relax. Because the moment I fall into deep sleep, it happens. Sometimes early in the night. Sometimes just before dawn. But always, the shame follows. And when I wake up, the smell hits me first. Then the wetness. Then the tears. But the worst part. The footsteps. My brothers checking to see if I did it again. They laugh before even confirming. And when they do, it's like Christmas morning for them. Again? Eva, you're seriously broken. Mom, it's like she likes sleeping in it. She's a freak. I don't know how to explain what this does to your confidence, how it claws away at your self-worth little by little. I avoid people. I avoid eye contact. I don't get close to anyone because I don't want to risk letting them close enough to see the part of me that still sleeps like a child, broken and wet. At school, I act normal. Maybe even too normal. I laugh at jokes, answer questions, even top the class in biology. People say I'm smart and sometimes I pretend I believe them. But when someone mentions a sleepover or invites me to travel for a competition, I panic. I make up excuses. My parents won't allow me, I'll say. Or, I don't really like sharing beds. Truth is, I'm terrified someone might find out. I've read every article, every thread, every Reddit post about bedwetting in teens. Most people say it stops by 7. Some say it's a hormone issue, others say trauma. I honestly don't care what causes it anymore. I just want it to stop. One time, I even tried sleeping on the floor, thinking maybe my brain would wake up from the discomfort before I wet myself. Didn't work. Just left me sore and soaked. And don't get me started on periods. Imagine having to hide pads and a soaked mattress. The double shame. It's like my body is set on betraying me in every possible way. My family pretends to care, but they don't. They just want me to stop being an embarrassment. My mom prays for me, but never hugs me. My dad barely looks at me. My brothers call me Pea Princess. I wake up every morning now with a countdown in my head. 10 days. 9 days. 8. It's like there's a clock ticking inside me, and with each second, the fear gets louder. I'm almost 18. Legally an adult. Supposedly ready for life, for independence, for marriage, at least, that's what my culture expects. But what kind of adult still sleeps in a plastic-covered bed? In my country, people don't talk about things like this. It's either you're cursed, or you're lazy. That's what they say. Pray harder. Fast. Stop drinking water. Stop being careless. They act like it's a choice I make every night. I've seen girls younger than me get married and praised. So mature, so well raised. Sometimes I wonder who I would have become if this wasn't part of my life. I used to dream about being a pediatric nurse. Yeah, a bedwetter who wanted to take care of sick kids. It sounds ironic now, but back then, it felt like purpose. I've always had a soft spot for children. Maybe it's because I never really felt like I got to grow up properly. I thought that maybe, just maybe, my pain would one day lead to something meaningful. That all this would be part of a bigger story, some transformation arc where I'd finally become the version of myself that I could be proud of. But how do you hold on to dreams when you're afraid to sleep? I lie awake most nights thinking of the things I'll never do, sharing a room in college, getting married, traveling with friends. All of it feels like fiction. Because how can you do those things when you're scared you might wake up soaked and ashamed? I've even had dreams where I was finally free. I'd go to sleep peacefully, wake up dry, and smile like it was normal. But then, even in those dreams, sometimes it still happens. I still wet the bed. That's how deep this runs. I used to try talking to people online. Anonymous forums, comment sections under random YouTube videos. I was desperate to find just one person who understood. But the replies? Bedtime used to be my favorite part of the day when I was younger. Pajamas, soft pillows, stories before sleep. But now, it's the most terrifying part of my day. Every night feels like a trap. The moment the house gets quiet and the lights go off, my heart starts racing. I stare at the ceiling, calculating the hours until morning, begging my body not to fail me again. Sometimes, I try to stay awake all night. I sit up in bed, eyes wide open, counting seconds. But sleep always wins. And when it does, I lose. Again. There's this pressure on my chest that never goes away. It's not just about the bedwetting anymore, it's about what it's done to me. I live in fear. Constant, silent panic. I avoid sleepovers. I skip school trips. I pretend to be sick just to avoid sleeping somewhere unfamiliar. I'm always carrying this invisible weight, this secret I'm scared will ruin everything. And the older I get, the heavier it feels. I'm supposed to be stepping into adulthood soon. People my age talk about moving out, dating, starting their lives. I talk about nothing. Because what am I supposed to say? Hey, I'm Eva. 10 days from now, I'll turn 18. There's supposed to be a party. Balloons. Cake. My mom's already planning something small with close family. Everyone's pretending like it's a fresh start for me, like once I become an adult, everything will change. But I know better. A birthday doesn't erase pain. It doesn't cure trauma. And it definitely doesn't magically stop bedwetting. Still, part of me wants to believe that turning 18 could mean something else. Not just the number. But maybe, the beginning of me fighting back. Not against my body, but against the silence I've buried myself in. I want to start seeing a real doctor who understands. I want to find support groups, even if they're just online. I want to talk to people who've been where I am and made it out. Most of all, I want to forgive myself. For every night I cried myself to sleep. For every morning I avoided the mirror. For every time I believed I was unworthy of love because of something I never asked for. I'm not writing this to gain sympathy. I'm writing this because I know someone out there feels what I feel. The panic. The isolation. The shame. And maybe you've never told anyone either. But you're not alone. We're not broken. We're just carrying something heavy. And maybe the first step to dropping it is saying it out loud. So here I am, Eva. 17 years, 355 days old. Still afraid. 10 days from now, I'll turn 18. There's supposed to be a party. Balloons. Cake. My mom's already planning something small with close family. Everyone's pretending like it's a fresh start for me, like once I become an adult, everything will change. But I know better. A birthday doesn't erase pain. It doesn't cure trauma. And it definitely doesn't magically stop bedwetting. Still, part of me wants to believe that turning 18 could mean something else. Not just the number. But maybe, the beginning of me fighting back. Not against my body, but against the silence I've buried myself in. I want to start seeing a real doctor who understands. I want to find support groups, even if they're just online. I want to talk to people who've been where I am and made it out. Most of all, I want to forgive myself. For every night I cried myself to sleep. For every morning I avoided the mirror. For every time I believed I was unworthy of love because of something I never asked for. I'm not writing this to gain sympathy. I'm writing this because I know someone out there feels what I feel. The panic. The isolation. The shame. And maybe you've never told anyone either. But you're not alone. We're not broken. We're just carrying something heavy. And maybe the first step to dropping it is saying it out loud. So here I am, Eva. 17 years, 355 days old. Still afraid.